Hey guys, welcome to the video. My name is Ryan Styles-Harris. In this video today, we are going to do a Q&A, and I brought a awesome special guest with me, Dreighton. He is a fast guy from somewhere up north, I forget. Dreighton, why don't you take a second and introduce yourself to the people?
Hey guys, Dreighton Stoub from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Nice. Dreighton and I totally smoked him at INS, except I didn't. He is a very fast guy. If you've had the pleasure of watching him on the track, or there's a couple of videos out there from the J Concept series, he really knows how to wheel a car. He's really good dialing and setup and getting stuff figured out. So I think that he's going to be a tremendous help to answering these questions that you guys have for us. So Dreighton, are you ready to jump into these questions?
Absolutely.
Nice. Okay, here we go. We're going to jump in. You guys, I posted this question on Facebook, and you guys gave us a ton of answers. If you were seeing this late and wish that you got a question in there, don't worry, we'll do this again in the future. But I'll stop yapping. We'll jump into getting some answers for you guys. Squints Palidorus, he submitted a question. It's kind of a funny question. What is the average airspeed of an unladen swallow? Does it ring any bells for you at all?
Not at all.
None?
No.
It could be carried by an African swallow. Oh yeah, an African swallow maybe, but not a European swallow, that's my point.
It's probably before your time. It's a quote from a Monty Python movie, and it's this dialogue where they talk about, oh, is it African or European swallow? So it's before your time. Okay, we have a question here. Peter Stein wrote, what option parts do you think are the most important ones for the B64 and the B6.1? Now, I wanted to take this question here because Dreighton did drive Associated stuff in the past. He's now a part of the Yokomo team. I currently drive the Associated stuff. This is a question that I think a lot of people will kind of get hung up on, and they put a lot of emphasis on they have to have these option parts in order to go fast. Now, I think that, and I'm trying to be nice. Yes, there are some great parts that you can put on your cars, whether it's an Associated or a Yokomo, but the truth of the story is, if I handed a box stock B64 to Dreighton versus my B64, he would probably be a little bit faster than me. And probably the same thing would happen if you handed a box stock one to who would you consider a fast guy in this scenario, Dreighton?
Anyone who's pro Ryan Mayfield.
Ryan Mayfield, that's a great example. How do you think your hopped up Yokomo would be compared to his box stock Yokomo?
He'd probably go a little bit quicker.
Right. So I think what are your thoughts on the whole, do I need lots of option parts to make my car go fast, or is it more of like a driver thing?
It's a little bit of both, not really speed as much as durability. If you want, like the steering rack, an aluminum steering rack is always a good choice just for durability. You can't really notice a huge difference, but if it makes you feel good, you can get it. I don't think it's a huge deal unless it's a big durability issue.
Okay, nice. I like that. Adding some durability, so not even necessarily a speed thing, get some more runtime, maybe endure some crashes a little bit better. I like that. All right, so we got another one here. Mike Welker asked, hey Ryan, enjoy your videos. Finally understand roll center. I have a question. How do you tune for a four-wheel drive that is traction rolling on blue groove clay? So what do you think?
I've never driven on blue groove clay, but I would assume I'd do the same thing as I normally would.
Okay.
If my car is just traction rolling, a lot of times your shocks can be stood up a little bit too vertically. You can lay those down and it'll hold not hold, but it will kind of roll without completely ripping your car over on its lid. Or you could just maybe let off the gas a little bit, just take it a little easier through the corner. Depending, if it's every corner, then I definitely do the shocks. But if it's just one corner, just tone it back a little bit and change your driving style up a little bit, and it should be better.
Nice. I like that you made the distinction that if it's like one particular corner versus like every single corner, then you can kind of be like, is it a driver error, or is it really my setup is that bad? Because sometimes you just have to kind of tone down how hard you drive into a particular corner. Yeah, that's really good. Do you ever, in those situations, do something like mess around with like the length of your links or anything like that?
You can make it a little bit longer, and it should help it go through the corner a little bit smoother. Just if you shorten it, it'll just be a little more aggressive through the corner, be quicker if you can get it through the corner consistently and smoothly. But if it's really flipping over, you gotta lengthen it, if anything.
Okay, nice. Okay. Mike, hopes that helps you out there. Okay, next question. Dennis Bogle, are you going to work on getting an invite to the Reedy race and maybe race the Worlds? Any thoughts on that? Well, Dennis, I appreciate the question. Definitely not that kind of fast to be able to get a direct invite to one of those events. But our buddy Dreighton here, he actually has been to the Reedy race, and he probably knows a little bit about that. Dreighton, can you shed some light or answer that question there?
Yeah, at Reedy race, it's kind of for open. You sign up and they pick 100 names to race the open 2-wheel and open 4-wheel class. If you make it top 10 in the open class, you're automatically invited for open next year. So you're just an open. If you're second through, I believe it was 10, you're automatically going back into open. And then if you win the open class, you're going in and do the invite. To get into Worlds, though, you have to go to nationals at a nationals qualifying year, or a Worlds qualifying year. I believe that's every other year. And you have to get top 30 in the 2-wheel mod or 4-wheel mod class.
Oh, cool. So it has to be a year for the Worlds, and then just do really, really, really well at nationals, and that sounds like you'll be good to go.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, cool. Moving on. Got another question here from Greg Carico. I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names. But he asked, driving lines, when to brake, the difference between the techniques for stock versus mod. So basically, is there a different driving style that you use from one to the other? I don't have a whole lot of experience with mod racing, honestly. I've done mostly stock. So the few times that I have driven mod, it is a different car. I don't have a tremendous amount of input on this one, but I know that Dreighton here has just transitioned within the last couple years from running mostly mod now. Is that right?
Yeah, since January, mod.
Okay, nice. I mean, you're incredibly fast in stock. You were incredibly fast in modified. You did really well at the open class at the Reedy race. You had tremendous pace there. So what are your thoughts here? You can definitely speak to this.
Stock, you can just push the car a lot more. I think you can drive to your full capability a little bit more in stock. Like, you can drive deeper into each corner in stock and get out of the corner a little bit quicker because you're full throttle, because your car really won't break loose. But in mod, if you like land a jump, you're gonna want to, and the corner's right after, you're gonna land on the brakes a little bit, and then kind of roll through the corner, and then gradually get up to speed. Otherwise, you're just gonna loop out, and you just got to drive a little bit calmer with mod. And if you don't want to drive a whole lot calmer, just have a faster car and drive it like a stock. You can mess with the ESC a little bit and make it a smoother transition from a stopping point up to a full speed.
Okay. Nice. So definitely you would say there is a difference in the driving styles between the two.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, cool. Got another question here from Alex Mack. Alex, what's going on, man? When are you running mod? It's a fair question. Obviously, Dreighton here, he's made the transition like most people do from stock to mod. One thing that I really like about the stock class, I know that there's a lot of haters out there, is that it actually has the largest turnout at most of the races that I go to. And I kind of like that. It's fun when you get to race against, 5 heats of another, group of people. Some would argue, well, is there enough competition there to make it worth your while? Maybe, maybe not. But I enjoy the competition, and I enjoy being involved in something that is obviously a large part of the industry. I think that there's a lot that can be said when you're representing something that most of the people are doing. You're going to have an opportunity for a little bit more engagement, I think, in some cases. But modified does look fun, and I know that I will be trying it, but I just don't know when. So hope that answers your question. All right, got another question here for you. Let's see, moving on. Dustin Spallone, he asked, what is your favorite type of full-size racing / motorsports? That's kind of nice, like that, a little bit different pace. I'll go first, and then Dreighton, he can answer his as well. I kind of grew up watching everything. I'm just trying to think of the oldest name that I remember in the motorsports world was actually Mark Martin, oddly enough. I remember those days of NASCAR every Sunday, Dad watching that stuff, but he also watched a lot of Supercross and motocross, so I remember a lot of those guys from back in the day. We watched WRC, we watched literally everything. I kind of have watched it growing up. A lot of the trophy truck racing, I don't know what it's called now. I think it was called the Torque Truck Series back then, the Pro 2, Pro 4 trucks, a lot of those. I honestly, anything that's racing and it goes fast and it sounds cool, I like it. Drayton, what about you? Are you into motorsports at all?
I enjoy watching Supercross more than anything. It's all I really watch for like full-size racing motorsports, but I usually have to record it because I'm at the track racing on Saturday. But if I'm watching a full-size motocross or motorsport, anything around there, it's going to be Supercross or motocross.
Okay, nice. All right. Got another question here from Eric Quertermos. Sorry. That's your name right there. Question right there. Where do you see RC racing in the next 5 years? Okay. Hopefully we are all still here. Those that are watching this video, we're still racing in 5 years, because I know that the RC community can be a little bit volatile in its attendance because people get burned out, they can't afford it anymore, they lose interest. There's a lot of reasons, and that's perfectly acceptable. But hopefully with things like this, the YouTube and Facebook, that it will help people maintain their interest 5 years down the road. Now, what do I think is going to happen 5 years from now? Gosh, that's such a hard one to predict the future. I don't think that we're going to see too much of a difference in the shakeup of classes. I think that we're still going to have stock and mod. I think that what's been really interesting looking at and I'm curious, Drayton, do you race any on-road at all? Is that a thing for you?
No. I was thinking about it, but I just ultimately decided against it.
Okay. Now what's interesting is actually, I have a bunch of on-road stuff up there, but those are all old Tamiya cars that I used to race at the Tamiya America track when I lived in California back in the early 2000s. It was during the generation when Associated just dropped the TC3. That car really just had this gigantic level of success and kind of propelled a huge wave of on-road racing. I remember a lot of people all over the place, and we were seeing it in the magazines, that like parking lot, just like asphalt races, like were a thing. And I don't really see that anymore. Is that a thing at all where you are up there?
I can't name anyone who runs on-road in like Michigan at all. I know there's an on-road track, it's on-road carpet, I believe. It's in Illinois. It's Windy City RC. It's a great facility. I know that they have turf off-road, but I don't know anyone from my state who races on-road.
That probably makes a little bit more sense in your case, just because you're a little bit more of a seasonal state. So you're going to have, the winter and stuff like that, and get, shut down any sort of outdoor tracks at times, I would assume. But down here in the Sunshine State and in California where I was, you can pretty much race asphalt year round. I mean, the worst thing that happens is it rains, but you don't have any dirt to repair. So it's kind of like pretty much as soon as it dries, it's good to go. So looking at it, It's weird. I don't think that anybody back then would have looked 5 years down the road and then saw, sadly, the turnout for the on-road nationals this year. The on-road, or what was it? The asphalt nationals. There was pretty sad turnout for that. And if you would have told my early 2000s self that just got the factory team TC3, he would have been like mind blown. So I don't know what the future has in store, but I hope that these manufacturers are just going to keep listening to the community and making the things that are going to help this hobby be successful. Right now, it looks like off-road is kind of here to stay, and that's the way it's been going, especially with the development of, you have dirt outdoor, dirt indoor, astro, carpet. There's a lot of variables there, and I think that it's keeping the RSME community happy. So I think that that's what we're going to see in the next 5 years, if I had to guess. We got another question here from Andrea. How much do you play with radio setup, especially for difficult conditions? Very low grip or very high grip? Okay, so kind of at both ends of the spectrum there, does the radio is something that I change. Every time I go out onto a track, one of the things that I'll be looking at when I take like my first few hot laps is I go into the places where if I'm going to apply a tremendous amount of braking in the corner, is it too much? Is it not enough? Depending on the level of grip on the track, and then I might dial that in. But other than that, I don't really touch anything else on my radio. It pretty much is just make sure everything's centered up and good to go. Dreighton, are you any different there?
I'm pretty much the same. I don't really go off of grip. I go off of the size of the track. If it's a bigger track, I'll have my EPA up to 195 area with mod at least. And my braking, I usually have lower at like 80, 85. But a lot of times now, I'll just mess with the ESC if I'm having a little bit of problems. I'll just get the Wi-Fi box out for the Hobbywing ESC and get that going.
Technology is pretty cool. I've had a couple of people ask me, like, what's the difference between adjusting with the two? And they do different things, but mainly just those quick adjustments if needed. Do them on the radio, but then like the major things like frequency adjustments, timing if you're running mod and that sort of stuff, definitely you're going to do those within the ESC with the little Wi-Fi module. Another question. David Lorenz asked, how has your driving style evolved since I got back into racing? For those that didn't know, I was kind of out of it for about 9 years and now I'm getting back into it. Do I walk the track prior to practice, watch other drivers' lines, etc.? So I like that question. What has evolved in my driving style? I would say that I am definitely still learning a lot, because I think that would be what most drivers would say, is that they're always trying to improve. But I know that there's a lot of things I personally can improve on. One of those being, actually, I'll actually link this video down below because it was so fun to watch. It was a race at, I believe it was Tacoma. If I'm wrong, I'll correct myself here. It was Dreighton in the 13.5 four-wheel class at the JC series. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 13.5.
It was what?
If it was 13.5, both of those mains were crazy.
Yeah, so it was... Wait, did your battery blow up, or did the other guy's battery blow up?
Me and Rudy were battling, and he flipped, and I got by him, and in the next corner there was a double triple. I hit the double, and my motor seized up as soon as I got in the air over the triple and started smoking, so my motor went out at like a corner after I got the lead.
Oh, geez. Well, if any of you takes time to watch that race, it was kind of like, when I watched that, I was like, stock racing, it really has this element where you really have to like push the car super hard. Like, as I was watching it the first time, I remember watching and thinking, his motor's got to be like 1 billion degrees just based on how hard you were pushing that car. Like, do you remember anything like about your stuff, how it was working for you over that particular race?
I remember a lot about it. I know for a fact, because in qualifying we were temping it, I had that thing geared high. I think I was running a 33 tooth pinion, and Rudy was running a 26.
Woo!
We were temping it after each qualifier, which I think was 5 minutes, and the main was 8, maybe. Yeah. Or the qualifiers were 6, and the main was 6, around there. And it was coming off at like 106 for qualifying, so we were like, all right, it's fine, it's good to go. And then with about 2 minutes left in the race, 2:30, 3 minutes around there, I felt my battery, like my car was like just shut off for a second. I felt like it just stopped in the corner and then go. So I could feel it acting a little funny during the race. I was just hoping he would make it through. And then as soon as I just lost all control in the air, I was like, dang.
Yeah, it's a fun race. It's exciting to watch if you guys like doing that sort of stuff, just watching mains when you're got downtime. But going back to the original question, it's something that every single time I go out onto the track, I'm consciously thinking about. I tend to underdrive the car and just kind of like drive it safely into corners and safely out of corners. But as I've raced against faster and faster people, I've noticed that that's not really the way to go. And you kind of have to really push it as hard as you can into that corner, carry that speed, and just send that thing, drive it out of the corner. So that's something that I personally am working on with my driving. Dreighton, is there anything that you kind of mentally are telling yourself when you go out onto the track these days?
I don't think it's really changed my driving as much as maturity. As I got older, I realized that I need to wait for them to make a mistake more so me force a pass. So it's just when you're probably starting out younger and getting up to maybe when you're 15, 16, my age, that's when you'll really probably peak at maturity. Then it's more of a change in your driving style. But for me, as of now, I think it's just more maturity.
Okay, nice. Well, cool. This has been fun. I know there was a bunch of questions in there, and I'm sorry that I posted this with a little bit of a short notice there. I only gave you guys about half a day to throw some questions in there. But I don't want to keep the video super long and boring because this could go on forever and ever. So we'll do another one in the future, and yeah, more questions then. But Dreighton, thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything else that you want to tell the people or secrets of the RC racing world that they need to know?
I just want to thank you for having me on. Just trying to keep RC fun. Remember, it's just a hobby, nothing too serious.
I'm so glad that you said that. We saw a lot of questions in there that they were all fantastic questions. Thank you guys for putting them in there. And Dreighton and I, we've discussing a few things off camera, just how we really like all the people that we see out there that just want to have fun and just race together on the track, whether it's 8 scale, 10 scale, indoor, outdoor, whatever. We just want to have fun and make sure that this hobby sticks around and that we can just continue racing. So thanks, Dreighton, for being on here. I really appreciate it. I hope that you were able to answer some of the people's questions better than myself. Someday, hopefully, we'll race again. Is there going to be a race that we'll race together in the future?
Do any of the J Concept series for the rest of the year or no?
I will be going to the finals race. Will you be there?
I'm planning on it, yes. Are you going to be at Nationals or no?
Nationals is a no for me, but I will try to go to Masters of Dirt and the INS final.
I'll be at INS. I don't think I'll make Masters of Dirt.
Okay. Well, hopefully we can touch base and get some cool shots when we go to the INS final there. Will you be racing mod classes, or what are you planning on there?
Mod. Hopefully mod 2-wheel and mod 4-wheel.
Nice. So I have a chance. Yes. All right, cool, man. Thanks for coming on. Thank you guys for watching. As always, if you like the video, please like it. That always helps me out. Subscribe if you're not subscribed for more content like this, and we'll see you in the next one.